Hello everyone, I'm Mike Levin of Levinix, and today I will be showing you how to use the Remote Package Management System PIP that we had previously installed to install a module called Requests, and then we'll make it persistent. So I'll show you one of my initial tricks of duplicating a Levinix which had previously just been built into a Python server, so that if you make a mistake you can go back to your previous one very easily by just deleting this and duplicating this again. So I run Levinix on Mac. And when it gets up to the extensions, this actually includes Python, Vim, and Git now because it's been built. And then when it gets up to the backup restore, it's going to include distribute and pip, which are the remote package managers for Python. Right there. We'll open a terminal. We'll SSH into TC at localhost port 2222 foo. And we will sudo to become super user because it's doing an install that's going to be available to all users. Pip install requests. Now it's looking out at a Python repository, and it's going to download and unarchived files and then install them. Running setup.py. Bam, now we've got the requests object. Now the reason for installing this requests object is because as wonderful as Python is, it does have some shortcomings in the ease of use of making web requests. And so one of the clever developers out there fixed all those problems, made the perfect API for loading web pages with a program, and I have every confidence that someday it will be made part of Python proper, but today it's got to be loaded as an external module. So it's an external module much the way bottle.py in a previous tutorial was also an external module, but by dropping it directly into the same folder as we were doing our Python script in, it made all the functions from bottle.py directly importable by our script. It's a little different here when you install an external module. We need to find out where it installed that module so that we can make it persistent. So what I'm going to do is just type Python, which brings us into the interactive interpreter, and I am going to import requests just as you would at the top of a file you were editing, but we're doing it interactively so you can just test things. And now I'll actually use it first before I show you how to make it persistent. We can say that the variable named R is equal to requests.get, open parenthesis, open quote, your web page. I'll use mikelev.in, close quote, close parenthesis. My web page is loaded into memory now. If you wanted to see the contents, you would just, well, I want to say type print, but you don't have to in the interactive console. You can just say r.text. There's my web page. Okay, so we need to know where the request module is. So I'm just going to push that up a little to make it easier to read, and I am going to just type requests by itself, and Python usually shows you some interesting things about the object in memory. And here is the path. And I am going to copy everything up to the file, because that's where all the files are located. I'm going to copy that, And I'm going to exit out of the interactive Python by typing exit, open, close parenthesis. I'm going to type clear to make things easier to look at. And let's look inside that location. So I'm going to type ls and paste. Oh, there's all the .py files that requests is built from. That directory needs to be made persistent. I could make individual files persistent, but in this case it's much more efficient to just add the directory name to, does anyone remember? /opt.filetool.lst. So I vim /opt/.filetool.lst. Here's the list of things that are being made persistent currently. I hit Shift-G to jump to the bottom. I hit O to insert a line and automatically go into insert mode. I paste the path. I hit the escape key. I hit 0 to go to the beginning of the line. I hit X to delete the leading slash. I hit escape, :WQ to write and quit. And now, one more step to make it persistent, and don't forget this step. You have to type filetool.sh. Oh, there's our options. We want -b. So it's filetool.sh -b for backup. Now this is taking the work we just did, which is creating that directory, and adding it to the backup of the things to be restored on next startup. A certain number of things are put in the extensions directory that is part of the Tiny core system itself, and those get restored automatically. They're persistent, they're installed. And then there's things that were made part of your system outside the TCE load repository system, and those need to be backed up and restored. Okay, so to prove that it's persistent, we can shut down this Linux, and we can do that by typing sudo power off, which is the same as choosing option 3 from the menu. Reload it. Clear this to make it easy to look at. And by the way, this whole tutorial on how to do this is because I'm working up to making tutorials on writing programs that actually do things on the web, load web pages, screen scrape, hit APIs, and I have to make Python a little bit easier to do that because, you know, I'm advocating all this stuff being easy, and we run right into one of the things that's not easy in Python. So this solves that. It's outside the core system, and I try and avoid that, but this one is worth it. So I log back in, password foo, and we'll type Python. And the moment I can import the request object, it shows that we've made it persistent. So we do import requests. As long as that doesn't fail, we're golden. Voila, it's persistent. I would like to show you how to wrap it into the recipe for building servers, but I'm actually going to do that myself and spare you the time. You can check the previous tutorial where I did that with our remote package management extensions themselves. And you're not going to have to do this yourself. It's going to be included with beta 1.8, and we'll jump right into writing the programs that use this. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.